Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I've got Hoops. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Overall, I've been doing good for the most part. I will say a little bit of a busy work week for sure and kind of crazy at times, a little bit stressful at times as well, but overall, honestly, just getting through it and finding a way. What about you, man? How you been?
All right, it's been a little crazy, not only with my personal life, but the state of the world at the moment. It's been insane. I'm just hoping for the best for everybody. Essentially, I won't go too much into it because it is such a serious topic that needs a lot of thought put into the words I say, but I do hope for the best for everybody that's been affected with the ice raids and all that. It just hit our city today. I don't know if you knew that, but um,
I actually didn't really hear about it.
yeah, they got a couple of people at a pupusa place that my family would go to, and nearby is like a corner where like people who are looking for work would like just hang out. Um, and they're typically like Hispanic, so they a few of them got picked up today. I don't know if you remember. You I think I might be wrong, but I think you had
I think we
pupusas
went
with,
together, right?
or we were in the area for a burger.
Yeah, I
You
know
know
what
the
you're
area.
talking
You
about.
know the
Yeah,
area. Okay, so
yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're
we
talking about.
ate a burger
Yeah,
near that area, and I believe we had pupusas at my place, from that
yeah,
restaurant. Yeah, uh,
I believe we did, and I will say it was pretty good.
Yeah, they have good food. There's just hardworking people, and it's a shame what's been going on over there. So that sucked. There was a protest today in our city too. I joined for a little bit with my sister, just to voice out my concerns and stuff. But yeah, hopefully things get better. But I don't know. It's been so
Oh,
chaotic.
definitely hope so too. And I gotta ask, when you were at the protest, did you feel like safe for the most part, or were there any like safety concerns at all?
I will say because our area, it's not like dangerous or really like it's no LA, right?
Yeah, if it
Um,
was LA, that would be a different story.
Yeah, but either way, I was down for whatever. There was a lot of support from like the cars that were driving by that would play like FDT by YG through their car speakers or Mexican music, stuff like that. There were also some like old people that would like do a thumbs down, and I just flipped them off, stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
uh, yeah, but that's like the extent of what happened. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you were able to one, support the cause, and two, not feel like there were any safety concerns. So I
Yeah,
think that's a double
I,
win.
I was ready
Um,
for whatever because I brought my youngest sister with me too, so I knew I had to like be very cautious, uh, and just be very wary. But it was a peaceful protest. We were there just to, you know, voice out our opinions and stuff.
yes, sir. That is definitely a good thing to do. Voice your opinions, and hopefully things will be better very soon.
Hopefully, in funnier news though, last Friday, I did leg day for the first time in a long time. And dude, for like 4 days straight, I had so much struggle walking. Like it was crazy. I think Sunday was the worst. I could not walk like at all. It was insane.
Oh man.
Just I have just calf soreness and uh like for 2 3 days I try to reteach myself how to walk because I my
Oh man.
legs wouldn't like bend how it's supposed to bend and won't straighten how it's supposed to, stuff like that. So it was a very weird experience. So now I feel like I have to commit to leg day because if I don't, then it's just gonna happen again. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm also scared because not be able to walk again soon. I don't know, but yeah,
Oh
that's
man.
that was a weird and funny experience.
Yeah. So it's like you partially straightened your legs while at the same time, I guess hurt your feet or movement, I guess.
Yeah, I messed up my movement. Like I would have to get up on my like tippy toes and learn how to put
Uh-huh.
like my entire foot like flat on the ground, and it
Oh
would like
man.
hurt trying to do that. So
Man.
now I have to really like focus on legs so that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Do you need to request a temporary handicap sign?
I probably did that Sunday. I literally couldn't walk. It was such a struggle. I just hung out in my room like all day.
I feel you. Speaking of which, I'm not in no way trying to encourage people to do this, but that temporary handicap thing could like get you a lot of, I guess, conveniences if you want to call it. Man,
Yeah, my mom had foot surgery years ago, so she had one of those. It was nice while it lasted.
yeah, yeah, definitely. The one time my dad had but this is all the way back in 2013, and this was when we had relatives come over. We went to Universal, and because my dad was on a wheelchair, it ended up pretty much being a fast pass. It was hilarious.
Nice. Smart.
But hey, technically he was temporarily disabled for a little bit because he
Yeah.
couldn't really walk. So it wasn't no lie. It was just funny.
Hmm.
Anyways, yeah, definitely hope that things get better in this world. And at this time, definitely any positivity that we can spread is a good thing to get a little bit of distraction from all those BS that's going on in the world, which I think is a good segue into the NBA finals because obviously basketball, entertainment, trying to find some just a distraction. What
Exactly.
more than a basketball? And obviously right now we are 3 games in at this time of the recording, by the way. So I guess I might as well just tell the viewers our current situation. So due to me having a few relatives coming over for the weekend, I'm going to be pretty busy. So it was tough finding availability to film on a Friday or Saturday. So ultimately, me and Memo decided what we wanted to do is today at the time of the recording is Thursday night. And so far, games 2 and 3 have already happened. Game 4 has not happened yet. So our agenda right now is us two together talk about games 2 and 3, and then Memo will then give his thoughts on game 4 later in this episode. So that being said, right now we are 3 games into the series, with game 4 scheduled to be on Friday. Um, Currently it is it has been like a pretty close series, I will say, even though game 2 was not the closest. But without further ado, I guess we might as well just start by talking about game 2 because obviously we talked about game 1 in the first episode or last week's episode, shall I say. So getting right to I guess cut to the chase for the game. So early on, the first quarter was pretty close. I believe OKC's biggest lead was like 5, and the Pacers led by 3. Um, but the Pacers' 3-point lead in the first quarter was the biggest lead they ever had in the game. In the second quarter, OKC really was able to blow the game open. Obviously, knowing the Pacers and their resilience throughout the playoffs run, any lead is not safe against that team. But in this game, OKC did not surrender. Um, they went up by as much as 23, which was early in the second quarter, or midway through the second quarter. Pacers tried to cut into the lead, but they were not able to cut very far into the deficit. I believe the closest they got was like 12 or 13, something like that. Um, so yeah, OKC in a pretty much must-win situation because you do not want to go down 2-0 after two home games and then have to go on the road, kind of like what happened to the um the Cavs and the Knicks in the previous series against the Pacers. Um, OKC knew that this was a must-win, and that they did. They delivered. Um, they led for most of the game, as mentioned. They only trailed by 3, and they led by as much as 23. And huge reason why they were able to bounce back was because of a good balance of key contributors this game. So after a really good NBA Finals debut, Shea followed up with another nice performance. He put up 34, 5, and 8, 4 steals, and 1 block. Adding along that, Alex Caruso was a very nice game. 20 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Um, J Dub had a nice game, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. Um, Aaron Wiggins had a nice game too, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. And then adding on to that, Chet, he did much better this game than he did game one. Game one, he was absolutely a no-show. This game, he contributed. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. And yeah, those are pretty much the key contributors of this game for OKC to get them the much needed win to tie the series. On the other hand, for the Pacers, they did have a good amount of contributors, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. So to start, Tyrese, he had 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Um, Miles Turner had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Pascal Siakam had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Aaron Nesmith had 14 points, 4 rebounds. Benedict Mathurin also had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. And TJ McConnell had 11 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Andrew Nembhard also had 11 points, alongside 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. So, Pacers had a good amount of balance, but the overall team effort just wasn't enough this game. And OKC was in the process able to get a much needed game 2 win to tie the series at 1-1 heading into Indiana. So, that being said, I think this would be a good time for me to allow Memo to give his thoughts on game 2. Anything you would like to add alongside what I mentioned for this game?
Yeah, just starters. You said it perfectly. This was a much needed win for OKC. With that tragic choke job in game one where Halliburton stole the show with the game winner and got the first lead in the last zero point 0.3 seconds of the game. OKC needed to bounce back, and that's usually what they do. After they lose a game, they usually bounce back in dominant fashion, and that's what they did. They looked like what we expected the OKC Thunder to look like going into the series. They just were very dominant and just great on both ends. Like defensively, although we didn't get a lot of those like flurries where they get a bunch of steals and go for transition buckets and easy buckets. I felt like most of the time their defense just were good enough to get stops, and then they just do their thing on the other end and score, and score pretty efficiently too, especially in the first half. The first half is where the Thunder just killed the Pacers and they could not get back. Like it was competitive in like the first quarter, but in the second it became a shit show for the Pacers, and essentially in the first half, OKC ended up shooting 61.1 from the field, 36.8 from three, while the Pacers shot 34.9 from the field, 31.8% from three. So there was a very huge discrepancy. Damn, I don't know how to say the word. There was a huge gap.
Discrepancy, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, between the efficiency, uh, scoring wise, and I felt like a big reason why the Pacers really struggled with this game is because of their leader Tyrese Halliburton. We are definitely no Tyrese Halliburton haters. You're definitely the bigger Tyrese fan than I am, but I was very upset with his performance in this game because of how lackluster he was. I was surprised he ended up having the team high 17 points, especially
Oh, I was too, for sure.
especially with how rough the first three quarters were. Like the fourth quarter, he just always kills it in the fourth quarter for some reason. Like in game one, he got the game winner. In game two, he got 12 of his 17 points in the fourth, which is awesome, which is great. He tried to come back and get this team a win, but it would have been nice if he was aggressive in the first half, in the first three quarters, because in the first half, he only had 3 points, 1 of 5 from the field, had 5 points total within those three quarters. The Pacers need him to be aggressive, uh, because if the team is not able to score well, as I just talked about, how their efficiency were so poor, then Tyrese needs to come in and get those buckets because when he wants to, he is lights out. We saw in the fourth quarter, he was able to get whatever bucket he wanted out there against, one of the best defense in the league, the best defense in the league. They have Caruso, they have Dort, they have Shea, they have J Dub, all these guys to slow him down, and he was able to get whatever bucket he wanted in the fourth, but wasn't able to do anything in the first three quarters because it seemed like he didn't want to do anything. And that's the big thing. Like it seemed like he wanted to get others involved, which is great, and that's what makes this Pacers team so good. He gets other people involved, but if the team is struggling from the field, then he needs to be able to just pull up his big boy pants and just get those buckets when the team is struggling the most. So, yeah, disappointing game from him. I was very impressed with Shea in this game. I felt like this is his best game, even though he scored 38 in the first game and 34 in the second, so he scored less. I felt like he was uh, more comfortable in this game. He was able to do more of what he wanted to do, which is get open midi shots exactly where he wanted to. No matter who was defending him, he was able to get where he wanted to and get those points. He was able to get to the line as well, a good amount, which people were complaining about when I made that. I've been making TikToks on every game, like a wrap up video of every game, and that was like the first comment. Shea was able to get his free throws, but I don't think it was like an excessive amount. To be honest, I thought he just did his thing, and it wasn't too bad honestly. So I thought Shea was great in this game. Great bounce back game from Chet. He really killed it in the first quarter, which is kind of like a trend because in the next game that we're going to talk about, he did great in the first quarter as well. But yeah, in this game, 15.6 rebounds, much better. Um, and but the biggest contributors I felt like the most impactful were Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso. I believe Caruso had 20, Aaron Wiggins had 18. Both of them shot a good amount of threes as well. So when you got your role players coming in and shooting lights out, then it's basically game over for the opposing team, and that's exactly what happened. After the second half, uh, it was basically the Thunder show. There was really not much to take notes of. I literally stopped after the first half. I just have first half notes because like that was when the game was interesting, and then it became less interesting once the Thunder just kept adding on to their lead. Um, I guess it was interesting seeing Tyrese score 12 points in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late. So yeah, game two ended with a OKC win. Now they are 1-1 after having two games in OKC. Now the game is going to Indiana for the first time in, I forgot what they said. It's been a long
Well,
time since they've had a finals game. Not since the Pacers faced the
2000.
Lakers, right? 2000?
Yeah, 2000. Yeah.
So it was 25 years. I was going to
AKA,
say 25
yeah,
years, but I
but
wasn't really sure.
25 years, AKA my birth year. I know
Oh
that's
shit.
kind of crazy. 2000.
Who won
Um,
MVP in 2000? Do you remember? The reason why I asked you about the MVP thing is because it was a trend on TikTok to bring up who won MVP during your birth year. Do you know who that is?
um, Honestly, if I were to make a guess, I would have guessed Shaq. I mean, I know Shaq won the Finals MVP that year.
Uh,
I think he may have won the regular season MVP also. Matter of fact, why don't I look that up right now?
yeah, good idea. I don't know about 2000. I know my birth year 1998. MJ won it. Um,
Hmm.
the goat. I don't know if he's my goat, but
I mean, he probably is the GOAT. I mean, arguable. Obviously, new heads probably want to
yeah,
say LeBron.
I think a lot of people would get upset if I say MJ's the goat. But they
But then again, like those people didn't watch MJ play, so they don't know truly how great he was.
eh,
So
I didn't watch him play. That's why I'm not saying he's my
me
goat either.
neither. Yeah,
But I'm not saying LeBron's my goat. I'll keep my goat a
yeah,
secret because I know it'll piss
exactly.
people off.
Yeah. So I just looked it up, and it looks like I was correct. It was
Shaq.
indeed
Okay,
Shaquille O'Neal,
so at least you got a Lakers
2000.
player as your MVP.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Matter of fact, was that really Shaq's only MVP? It might
Yeah,
have been,
he
I
only
think.
won once. It's weird. He only won once. Kobe only won once.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like as dominant of a player he was, you would assume he won multiple, but
yeah, you would
I mean,
think.
same
Yeah,
for Kobe. Should have won more, only won one.
yeah. But yeah,
Um,
it's been 25 years since the Pacers were in the finals. Since your birth year, basically. So
yep.
let's talk about Game Three, which is at Indiana. And spoiler alert: Indiana got the win. How did that happen, Hoops? What went on?
Yeah, so this was a pretty good competitive game. Neither team led by double digits at any point. Biggest lead for OKC was 9, and the biggest lead for Pacers was also 9. OKC got off to a fast start, and that was when they led by as much as 9 in the first. But in the second, the Pacers were able to storm back, and they were found themselves with a 4-point lead at the half. The third quarter was close throughout. OKC led by 5 to end the third, but the fourth quarter was all Indiana. Pacers outscored the Thunder 32 to 18 in the fourth quarter, and in the process, they were able to pull away for the 116 to 107 Game 3 win. Um, and in large part, they were able to do that due to some key contributors. Um, Benedict Mathurin led the way. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. Tyrese had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Pascal Siakam had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. TJ McConnell had 10 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, and a very impressive 5 steals. So that was pretty cool. Um, for OKC, key contributors was J-Dub with 26 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. SGA had 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. Chet had 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Lou Dort had 12 points and 4 rebounds. So I would say this was probably actually I would say debatable between this game and game one. Which one might have been the more entertaining game of this series? Probably game one due to that impressive comeback by the Pacers. Obviously, your answer might be different depending on who you're rooting for. But yeah, I would say safe to say game one and game three were really entertaining. Game two wasn't necessarily boring per se, but it just wasn't as good because it wasn't as close. But yeah, so far, obviously, there were all those memes saying like, "Is this gonna be one of the more boring finals?" There were even jokes about like cancel the finals because no one cares about these teams, small market teams. And what do you know? Small market teams making probably the best finals series since I would say at least since 2021, the Bucks and the Suns, because since then, like the finals just simply haven't really been that good. So yeah, shout out to these small market teams for putting on a show. But that being said, I think this is a good time for me to now let Memo give his thoughts on Game 3. Memo, what were your thoughts on this Game 3?
I will say, to answer your question about which game is the more entertaining one, I'll say game three is more entertaining, but game one had the more entertaining ending. Like that final fourth
I
quarter
think that's fair.
was
Yeah.
probably the most entertaining moment. But in this game, game three, this was very competitive. They were going back and forth. And it was crazy because when I was taking my notes, I was writing so many good things about Indiana and how great they're doing and all the things that coming together in order for them to be losing. Like it felt like they were losing only by like 3 points throughout like the entire game, which is crazy because so many things were going for them, and yet it was still like a very tight race. Still, like OKC had the lead for a good chunk of the time. But yeah, let me start off by talking about how great Tyrese was. You know, I was hard on him when I made that TikTok days ago about how he needs to be more aggressive, and it's like he listened to me because he was more aggressive in this game. He had a crazy great stat line: 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists, and he started from the first quarter. The first quarter is where he was 2 for 3, 5 points, 4 assists early. Had this pretty cool assist where he got the ball in transition, wrapped it around his body, and then passed it back to Obi Toppin for an easy layup. That was really cool to see. But yeah, Tyrese on basically in every single quarter was able to like get a nice floater in or shoot one of those weird looking threes that he does that it's when they go in it looks so good. It looks so good even if his shot is funky. It looks really good. So being able to see that, it was very fun to see. Yeah, it reminded me of I guess almost 2 years now, the in season tournament Pacers play again. Like when he was going off for the very first time in his career and where he started showing signs of being an all-star. It reminded me of that when he was like just shooting threes, getting good passes out to his teammates. Speaking of his teammates, Matherin really stepped it up. I believe this is the first time since Jason Terry where someone off the bench scored more than 20 or more than 25, something like that. He scored 27 in like 22 minutes, which is really, really good, really great, very efficient game. And it's a big reason why he was able to do this is because of uh, TJ McConnell, dude, he had such an amazing game. By far the hardest working guy out there. Not only getting those easy buckets for Matherin to get his game going, but there was like you talk about how he had 5 steals. Three of them were like inbound steals where the Thunder had like a lazy pass or one of them wasn't paying attention. He was able to steal it off of them and get another possession for a teammate or for himself to score the bucket. When I saw him do like the third one, I was like going crazy because like how did you let that happen 3 times in a row? You got the smallest guy out there just yanking your chain like that. That's crazy. So shout out to TJ McConnell with like yeah, the stat line isn't too crazy, 10 points, 5 assists, 5 steals. The 5 steals is kind of crazy, but uh the hustle though was there. The hustle was needed. And yeah, like in game two, I felt like Shea was playing like how he wanted to play. In game three, it seemed like the Pacers were playing like they wanted to play. They were just going out there, getting easy transition buckets, and shooting their threes, and playing great defense. Like the Pacers are known for their offense. They're known for being such a skilled offensive team. But when their defense comes together, it's actually really impressive. Like, yeah, some players like Neesmith, I think he fouled out, had foul trouble. But, Neesmith was great defensively. I thought Nemhard and Shepard were great on Shea. Um, I thought Miles Turner, who was awful offensively, but defensively was a stud. Like, he got 2 blocks on Chet. He blocked a Chet 3, which I'm pretty sure that's like the rarest thing to do, to be able to block one of his threes since he's so long. And then when he got the ball again and started driving, he was able to, I think, block him or just stop him, something like that. So Miles Turner killed it defensively. Siakam killed it on both ends. He was able to get this great block. I forgot who, but he killed it. Even Tyrese Halliburton, known as a cone, a walking cone, was able to play great defense. He got this steal and had like the slowest fast break dunk I've ever seen in my life. It was just being very careful, making sure he didn't turn over the ball. He blocked, I believe, Shea. I think he blocked J-Dub, and then J-Dub got the ball and drove, and Tyrese fouled him. But after like going on top of his shoulder. But yeah, still, like, you don't expect Tyrese to play defense, but he did. He played great defense. He played great offensively. He got everybody going. And the bench, with Matherin scoring 27, with contributors like TJ McConnell chipping in as well, the bench ended up killing OKC. OKC lost the minutes when Shea was out. But even when Shea was in, like, this was not his like best game. He had 24 points, which is decent for any other player, but this is Shea. MVP. He averages 30 plus. He shouldn't be getting only 24 points. 9 of 20 from the field. Only 3 points in the fourth quarter. Like, it was still a close game in the fourth. But he only had 3 points in the fourth quarter. The Thunder struggled shooting their free throws in the fourth quarter as well. So because of all that, they really couldn't catch up, and the Pacers ended up running away with it. But yeah, I thought J-Dub had a pretty good game. I think he was the best Thunder that night with 26 points. Chet had started the game pretty well, but he ended up having a 6-for-15 game, so not very efficient, and was getting blocked quite a bit, which is surprising, seeing how long that guy is. Caruso had by far his worst game in this playoffs, with only 8 points. And I feel bad for Dort because every time he's shooting lights out from 3, that's when he loses. He shot like 5 threes in game 1, 4 threes in game 3. He's not even known for his 3-point shooting, and yet he was able to make them in the games that they're losing. So that sucks for him. But yeah, other than that, I don't think there's much else I have to say here. Just very, I'm very happy. We talked about this last week, how you kind of are leaning more towards OKC just for like who you rather see win, and I lean more towards the Pacers because I do like an underdog story. Even though we both predicted OKC in six, how are you feeling with that prediction though? Do you think it's gonna be in six still? It's probably gonna be in seven now. But do you think it's still OKC?
Um, I'm gonna put it this way. Obviously against that Pacers team, it's very challenging to bet against them, knowing time and time again they show no quit and signs of no signs of death. That being said, technically it's still possible. They would just have to win three in a row. Um, it's not going to be easy, but I mean, maybe they do it. I think that it really depends on what happens in game four. If OKC wins that game, then they are in prime position. Then they get to go back home, game five, probably win. Game six would be the ultimate factor, though. If the Pacers are able to win at home, then they go a game seven at OKC. I wouldn't like rule out an Indiana win, but if I were to bet money, I would say Thunder wins that game at home. But that being said, I would honestly still not be shocked if OKC did find a way to win three in a row and end it in six. Um, but I think that it will for sure go at least six games. I don't see a world where the Pacers just ended in five. I feel like that would be like a long shot. If that did happen, that would be like one of the most embarrassing ways of a series to end and one of the most crazy underdog stories, underdog upsets. So yeah, I would say it's gonna go at least six games for sure because it's not. I don't see an Indiana 5 game win, but seven is possible. I don't know for sure. Um, it's looking like probably game seven is very likely impossible, but I feel like it all depends on how game four goes. Honestly, OKC wins that game, and honestly, I just might just stick with my prediction that it was going to be 6 games. If OKC loses that game, then I feel like it's for sure going to go seven, unless the Pacers found a way to win in six. So yeah, game four, to say the least, is going to be very crucial.
Yeah, who do you think is gonna win Game Four? I think it's OKC just because they're good
I
at
think
bouncing back
yeah,
after a loss.
I would say OKC wins game four and bounces back. Knowing that this team always usually finds a way to adjust, as you say, it would be a shame if they didn't. And like I feel like if you're looking at trends of the playoff runs, all signs point at an OKC game four bounce back because semifinals against Denver, they were down 1-0. They won game two to tie it. They were down 3-2 to 1. They won game four to tie it. Last series against Minnesota, they were up 2-0, lost by 43 points or whatever that was in game three, and then they bounced back and found a way to win game four on the road. So I would say like it will keep that trend alive. Coming off a tough game three loss, they will find a way to win game four and tie the series 2-2 heading back to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen, especially since the Thunder, I think throughout the entire season, only lost two in a row twice. This entire season, so will Pacers make it three times? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. Um,
I don't think so.
if it is tied 2-2, and knowing that you prefer Oh, you kind of prefer Thunder. I kind of prefer Pacers. Should we throw like a wager on it? Should we do something silly? If like the Thunder
Hmm.
wins the finals or the Pacers wins the finals.
What type of wager are you thinking per se?
I mean, maybe one of us wears like a goofy costume or a wig in the
Oh,
next
I
finals.
mean,
Or do you have any other better ideas?
I'm trying to think what ideas there are out there. Hmm.
This will, of course, only work if they're tied 2-2 because it'll be messed up if like it's 3-1 Pacers and I'm like, okay, let's now do a wager. I feel like that'd be a little rude.
Yeah. Okay, let's say this. If OKC does win game four and it is a tied series, whichever team that loses then has to do something. I'm just trying to think what it is. Honestly, like what do we have as options? Um
Yeah. If we can't come up with an idea now, then maybe it'll be a surprise for the viewers and we'll just come up with an idea when we're
maybe
off camera.
yeah. I'm trying to think what might be a good one, low key. I mean,
At first, I was thinking like, oh,
being
the loser has to pay lunch the next time we see each other, but the viewers are not going to see that, and it's kind of boring
yeah,
too.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't mind that one, but the viewers wouldn't be able to see it. So yeah,
Exactly.
well, I guess we can come up with a surprise since we can't really think of it at the moment.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. So
Yeah,
let's see. We're gonna cover game four. Does that mean the next episode's gonna be the last episode covering the finals? Most likely. Will
I feel
game
like most likely
5, 6, and 7 be within that week time span?
game seven. I wait, hold on. Oh, game seven would be on a Sunday, meaning that that would be the following week if it did go game seven. So
Ooh.
if it finished in six, then it would be the last episode next week.
Okay. If it goes to game seven, we might have to do what we did today, and I'll do like a solo
Maybe.
part for to cover game seven, just because
Yeah,
it's better for the
maybe.
views
Honestly, we might.
wise. Having the recap the day after the finals.
Yeah, that might be the way to go, honestly. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Um, if we were to cross that path.
Either way, we're probably gonna do some kind of wager if OKC ties the series 2-2, and I guess we'll find out like very very soon because I think this is a good time to end it here, and then we'll just transition to myself to cover game four. Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do that. Hello. Okay, this is Memo going solo to break down game four of the NBA Finals. Obviously, you just heard us break down game two, game three. We all know that Hoops is not going to be on for this breakdown due to other responsibilities, but he probably will mention some things from game four in the next episode. But yeah, it looks like we are gonna do that wager after all because OKC is the winner of Game Four. They have tied the series up. So now that it's tied, uh, I got me thinking about other wagers to do. I asked my sister about this earlier. She had ideas that I cannot say because, oh my god, it was very weird. So I won't say what she said, but I don't know. We might do something silly if we do go with the wager, but we'll see. We'll see. Hoops and I will talk about that throughout the week. We're gonna need to come up with something like fast because yeah, we got like one more episode, right? This is game four. There's three more games that if there is a game seven, which there probably will be a game seven, it'll be next Sunday, right? which I'm probably gonna go solo for that as well. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's break down Game 4 though. I did break this down a little bit on TikTok. If you want the fastest, quickest opinions on games after they finish in this finals, check out the TikTok because I've been doing that as of late for this series specifically. Like I've been making TikToks about predictions and going over entire series, but in the finals I've been breaking down every game. And so for this one specifically, I felt like the tables have turned. The Pacers would basically start a little slower than the Thunder. The Thunder will do pretty good, especially in Game 2, obviously. They destroyed in quarter 2 and then just kept the lead since quarter 2, right, in Game 2. But in Games 1 and 3, more specifically, the Thunder will do well. They'll have a great half, and then they'll trail. They will trail towards the end, and that's where Tyrese Halliburton and the gang will, do their thing. The heroics comes out, and they basically break down the lead. They catch up, and they end up winning those clutch games. Obviously, Game 1, classic finisher with Tyrese Halliburton making that midi for the game with zero point 0.3 seconds left. They only led the game for 0.3 seconds, which is crazy. And then in Game 3, not as epic, but still, the Pacers were able to cut down the lead and take Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That basically happened in Game 4, but the tables have turned. The Pacers actually won the first quarter in this game, only by 1. So it was obviously like a very close game, and it was a close game throughout the entire game, basically. But again, the Pacers had the edge. The Pacers had the edge for the majority of the game, especially in quarter 3. In the third quarter, that's where they ballooned their lead to the largest amount by 10. They were leading by 10 at one point with some great basketball played by Obi Toppin, by far his best quarter, I believe. Let me pull up ESPN as I'm talking. But yeah, in quarter 3, that's where the Pacers looked pretty dominant. But in quarter 4, that's where the tables turned. The Pacers are known to be great closers, as we all know by now. They kill it in the fourth, but not in this case. In this instance, sorry about my dog. The Thunder came through. More specifically, SGA. The quarter started off with the SGA Halliburton mini battle. They were trading buckets, but as the game continued, Halliburton just went off. I believe in the final 5 minutes, the clutch time minutes, he scored, I believe, 14 points within that period. Shea scored 14 clutch time points. This led to a 12-1 run for Oklahoma, which ended up helping them winning this game. What also helped them was free throws. I'm not trying to be that guy and say that they only won because of free throws, because both the Pacers and the Thunder shot relatively similar amount of free throws, just 5 off. The Oklahoma City Thunder shot 38 free throws, while the Pacers shot 33. So they only had 5 more. But they were making it at a higher percentage. The Thunder were 34 from 38 from the free throw line. The Pacers 25 of 33 from the free throw line. And yeah, those free throws were crucial. Shea struggled getting on the line for the majority of this game. I believe he shot 2 free throws before the fourth quarter, and then in the fourth quarter he basically shot the rest. How many did he have in total? He had 10 free throws. So if I'm correct, he shot 8 free throws in the fourth quarter. Matherin shot a good amount of free throws, but he was breaking them. So that is why I say that the Thunder won because of free throws. Not because they got a lot more free throws, but they were making them when it mattered the most. Matherin, he was, the player of the game in Game 3. Not so much in Game 4. I wouldn't say they solely lost because of him, but there was no way that the Pacers were going to catch up and make some kind of miracle run if they couldn't make their free throws. And that's exactly what happened here. I believe Matherin was on the line 2 or 3 times and missed them all, which is crazy. Let's see. He shot a total of 8 free throws. 5 for 8 though, so not the best percentage for a person at his position. But yeah, Shea was getting those tough baskets in during the fourth quarter and making his free throw, so he ended up saving the game basically and had a pretty good game. 35 points, 3 rebounds, and get the 0 assists. I don't really get the Kobe comparisons with him, but in this game specifically, I can see it. I can see it with the 0 assists. But yeah, what I thought was funny for the Thunder side, Shea struggled to get to the line for the most part, not until the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, he got to the line. What I thought was funny, though, Jalen Williams, who also had an amazing game, played like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for the most part. I believe in the first quarter, he shot 6 or 8 free throws, and he ended up being, let's see, 11 for 11 from the free throw line. So again, perfect from the free throw line, just like Shea. They were making their free throws. Again, this is the reason why they won the game. Now, we could also look at the referee staff, see that Scott Foster's there, see that, they're calling fouls when they weren't fouls in previous games. But again, it wasn't like the Thunder got a lot more free throws. They just were more efficient from the line. Jalen Williams made all his free throws. He had 27 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Great game from him. Chet made all his free throws, 6 for 6. Caruso almost made all his free throws, 5 for 7. Caruso had a great game. 20 points for him. 3 rebounds, 5 steals, and a block. Dude was everywhere. And the crazy stat that's been going around is that Alex Caruso, this is his second 20-point game in the finals, and he didn't have a single 20-point game in the regular season. That's insane. This just proves that he is a finals riser. This is why they traded for him. They got rid of Giddey to get this man, because they know that Caruso is the GOAT. The bald eagle himself will come through when needed the most, and he did in this game. It hit tough baskets. Like, obviously, Hoops and I talked about this. I'm more on the Pacers side, but man, like when Caruso is going, like he had an ISO play that worked out for him. He hit some tough and ones, and it's hard not to root for Caruso. Former Laker. I'm happy to see him succeed. So at the same time, it kind of sucks because I want the Pacers to win it. I really do. But man, Caruso was killer. What's interesting about this game, the free throws were going down for the Thunder, but the 3-pointers were not. They only made 3 3-pointers in this game. 18.8% from 3. That is insane. The Pacers didn't have the best percentage either, but they almost had double, if I'm being very generous. 30.6 from 3. They were definitely making their threes, especially in the first half. But again, they had a dry spell in the fourth quarter, and a few of the Pacers did struggle getting their shots up, making those threes. Like Miles Turner. Miles Turner has been having pretty bad offensive performances as of late. Like in Game 3, he was pretty bad shooting the ball, but it didn't really matter because he was amazing defensively. But in this game, 3 from 10 from the field, not great for a center. 0 for 6 from 3, that's atrocious. What's also pretty bad, Tyrese Halliburton 1 for 7 from 3. I do like how he's a bit more aggressive, not as aggressive as he was in game 3, but this wasn't as bad as the game 2 loss. So I appreciate that. He had 18 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. Now, wow, that's actually a little surprising. I didn't expect that. But yeah, if he could have made a few of those 3-pointers, the Pacers probably would have won this game. Not blaming this loss on Tyrese, of course, because it's a culmination of a lot of things. It's the fact that they couldn't make their free throws, the fact that they couldn't make timely shots, the fact that Shea was just going off. The Pacers defenders were looking great within like the first 3 quarters. Nembhard has been pretty good defending Shea, as good as you can be guarding an MVP. But in the fourth, Shea really, really proved to the world why he is the MVP and basically carried the Thunder to the win, right? So, yeah, that's essentially it. Let me double check my notes. Oh, this is interesting. We got the first little altercation in this game. When was this? I think this was in the first half. In the second quarter, I believe. Yeah, Obi Toppin fouled Caruso pretty hard, which is something to keep an eye out because in game 3, Caruso got hard fouled. I worded that weirdly. In game 3, a lot of people were saying it should have been a flagrant. It wasn't called a flagrant after review. And in this game, Caruso got fouled hard again, and OKC wasn't having it. More specifically, Hartenstein, he went to talk to Obi in a stern manner, but not very... I didn't think it was too aggressive, but Obi Toppin didn't like it at all. Pushed them, and they both ended up getting double techs, and then Obi got a flagrant 1 for that hard foul on Caruso. So, saying that tells me that these teams are really not liking each other now. It was fun in games in the first few games, but now it's getting pretty serious. I think both teams now think that they have a chance of winning it all, but they also have a chance of losing it all too. So things got competitive in this game. I think in the first quarter, this was funny. Lou Dort went back like this with his hand towards Tyrese and got Tyrese's chest, and Tyrese might have flopped. He flopped to the ground, and the whole everybody on the court was just watching. Even I believe, was it Neesmith on the line or Mathurin? I forgot, but whoever was on the line looked back, thought that was crazy, and then when everybody realized there was no whistle, he shot the free throw and I believe made it. So shout out to whoever was on the line. I forgot. I probably should have wrote that down. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I think I covered it all. Just story of the game. Pacers were actually winning for the most part. They were great from the beginning, but trailed off in the fourth because of not being able to make timely shots, not being able to make their free throws, which was killer. That ended up hurting them a lot. And then SGA going off, looking very comfortable in the fourth, getting to the line a lot more, getting those hard baskets in, and just flat out looking like an MVP out there. So yeah, nothing else to say. Oh, Chet was great defensively, especially in the fourth. So was Siakam throughout the entire game, and he chipped in with 20 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, and a block. I believe he had four steals in the first quarter with which was the first time that has happened since LeBron during his Heatles days. I believe so. I think that I read that correctly. I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, shout out to Siakam. Very underrated superstar. We don't talk about him enough. I feel like uh, other media groups don't talk about him enough either. I saw this crazy post. Apparently, the ESPN guys, the First Take guys, I think it was First Take, were talking about the Lakers instead of preparation for this game. Like, they uploaded a YouTube video about the Lakers. I forgot the context or what it was about. But, they uploaded that hours before this finals matchup. The Lakers haven't played in like a month now. So, as much as I love my Lakers and I would love to talk about them all the time, that was not the time. It has not been a good day for ESPN either. We got that picture of Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire during the game. He said it was a timeout. No, it wasn't. There's video proof of the game going on, and he's on his phone. Which, not gonna lie, I do the same thing sometimes when they're on the line or it's a timeout. I'm on my phone. I'm on Twitter or something. But I'm not getting paid to do this, and I still make time to make my notes and stuff like that. Stephen A. Smith is getting millions to watch the game and take notes and talk about the game. So the fact that he's playing solitaire is crazy. And yeah, one more thing, the Indiana fans that came in with their Dumb and Dumber costumes and having necklaces of Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins was definitely perfect, especially for that game specifically with Stephen A. Smith playing solitaire while one of the biggest games of the year is going on. So I thought that was funny. The fan interactions, like the fans have been fun. In OKC, there's that big belly guy with the paint. There's the Jesus dude. I don't know if you guys seen him. The Pacers, we got the Dumb and Dumber people. We got a lot of Pacers legends. Caitlin Clark has been in attendance, and I believe this is the first game in the playoffs where she attended and they ended up losing. So OKC broke a streak there. That's something to look out for. Then there's the Pacers fan with the little rubber, not rubber, but inflatable flamingo. There's the Toronto fan, the Toronto super fan that has been in attendance for the Pacers game. I believe he's there to support Pascal Siakam, Raptors legend. So, fun to look at the crowd, see what's going on over there, and see how these fans are celebrating these two great teams making the finals and making it very entertaining. Remember when a lot of people thought this series was going to go to 5? That's crazy. I thought I was crazy pushing it to 6. OKC in 6. I thought I was the weird guy for saying that, but now it looks like a really good take. It looks like a good take. This series could end in 6. Might be OKC, might be Pacers. I don't know anymore. It's literally hard to tell which team is gonna win this finals because they've been so good, extremely good, very impressive from both sides. So who knows if my take will end up being perfect. OKC in 6. Part of me wants that to be the case, so I can say I predicted the finals correctly. But again, I kind of want the Pacers to win it all, just because I think that would be awesome. So we'll see what happens. The day that this episode will be uploaded is the same day as Game 5. I'm going to make sure this is uploaded before the game, of course. So I'm excited for Game 5. Let's see what happens back in OKC. And I will be happy to talk about Game 5, Game 6, maybe even Game 7. in the next episode. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. Thank you all for joining us, especially in the first half. I nearly had a perfect episode with no cuts solo wise, but I accidentally docked my co-host Hoops. I used his real name, so I had to cut that out. But yeah, as I was saying, Hoops and I had a good time talking about game 2, game 3. I'm sure he would have loved to talk about game 4, but he'll definitely be back next week to talk about the next few games. So if you want to check out our thoughts on that, please make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube. If you're watching this video on YouTube, make sure you like it, comment down below. Even if you are on audio platforms, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That would be awesome. Check out our socials, especially if you want to know my thoughts on these games right after these games. Check out our TikTok. I've been doing that a lot on TikTok. It's been doing pretty well, I will say. It's been helping us out quite a bit. So if for some reason you're not from TikTok, you're not from the shorts, you're just a fan of the podcast, I don't know why I paused there, sorry. Check out the socials, especially TikTok and shorts. But yeah, I guess I'll end it here. From both Hoops and I, we hope you have a good week. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.